Now, Russia's real estate market has been booming like many markets around the world. In Russia, price increases, though, were also driven by the Russian government in April 2020 introducing a mortgage subsidy program to stimulate demand amidst the slump. And since then, as already said, property prices have absolutely skyrocketed. Now, in June 2021, the mortgage subsidy program was extended by 1 year to July 2022, but with tighter conditions. So, for example, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, credit limits were cut from 12 million rubles to 3 million rubles. Now, 3 million rubles would equate to around 40,000 US dollars. But very important, what of the future of the real estate market in Russia? Well, today I'm going to give you 10 reasons, at least for now, why you should not put your money in the Russian real estate market. And my first reason is this. We're already seeing in Russia, particularly in Moscow, a cooling down of the market as fewer people can afford to take out mortgage loans. And this will become even more difficult when the scheme finally comes to an end in July 2022. My second reason is this. I think prices in Russia are high, especially relative to incomes in cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. Now, St. Petersburg and particularly Moscow often come on or near the top for property prices to income ratios. So this would indicate that there is an unaffordability in the local market, and this is always a red flag for me. So if prices are unaffordable to locals, I think they're likely to go down in the near future. Number three, I want to talk about the lowish rental yields, in particular in cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. So gross yields in Moscow are around 4%, and in St. Petersburg around 4.5% on average. Now, I'm not saying these gross yields are terrible. They're anything but terrible, but they're not particularly amazing, especially when I come to point four. Now, point four, Russia is a pro-tenant market with high taxes. So it's very difficult to evict a tenant in Russia for non-payment. And on top of that, rental income tax, if you're a non-resident, is a whopping 30%. So point three and point four together would indicate that Russia, in particular Moscow and St. Petersburg, are not very good as a buy-to-let market. And there are better markets out there in Europe. Number five, I want to talk about the declining population. So in 2021, Russia's population is around 146 million, but by 2035 it is expected to decline to 141 million, and by 2050 to 135 million. But I actually want to be fair, because in cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, and other cities as well in Russia, namely, let's say, Kazan, Yekaterinburg, populations are actually expected to increase, albeit marginally. Number six, I want to talk about the patchy GDP growth and real wage decline. So from 2015 to 2019, GDP ranged from minus 1.97% to 2.81%. And in 2020, GDP actually fell by nearly 3% due to the pandemic. Now, I'm not saying this is terrible, but it's not amazing either. And what's more really, I think, hard-hitting, between 2013 to 2020, Russian real incomes have fallen by 11%. Yes, 11%. So when I made videos about other places, let's say like Riga, Vilnius, where there's been spectacular real wage growth, in Russia, it's actually declined. Number seven, also very important, I want to talk about interest rates and inflation. Now, like many countries, Russia has been hit with rising inflation, and this reached above 8% in the latter stages of 2021. Now, as a result, interest rates have risen sharply from 4.25% at the start of 2021 to 8.5% as of December 2021. Now, when interest rates are rising, this is never good for the real estate market. And I think we're already seeing prices start to go down. And I think they're going to fall further in 2022 as a result of higher interest rates. Number 8, and this is one I hate to talk about, but we have to mention political risk. So unfortunately, relations between Russia and the West are not at their best, and further sanctions against Russia could see the economy hit very badly. And if the economy is hit badly, again, this is not going to be good for the real estate market in Russia. Number 9, I also want to talk about currency risk. So the ruble has been hit badly over the last 10 years or so. So if we take, let's say, December 2013, 1 USD got you 32 rubles. As of 2021, 1 US dollar gets you 74 rubles. So you can see the ruble has declined quite sharply. Now, this potentially could be seen as an opportunity, but I have to put it in the risk factor as well. And number 10, if we do comparisons with other real estate markets, let's just do one with, let's say, Moscow and Kiev. So Kiev prices are much cheaper than Moscow, and very importantly, yields are much higher than in Moscow and Saint Petersburg as well. So this would indicate there are better markets than Russia to put your money in the real estate market. Now, I've given you 10 disadvantages, but I also want to speak about Russia in a good light as well, because it's a country I do like very much. Now, the first thing is that Russia is still a global superpower, and that will stand it in good stead for the future. But my most important point about Russia is that it has one of the lowest total government debt to GDP ratios in the world at around 18%. And if we compare this, let's compare this to, let's say, the UK, France, Italy, Spain, and the US, where the levels are above 100%. This shows Russia in an extremely good light. And I think what the Russian government could do, it could use this, it could actually borrow a little bit more to help an ailing economy. And I think this is something which a lot of Western economies and the US cannot really do. My third point is this, is that I do think Russia is an absolutely beautiful country, and I think it does have a lot of potential for future tourism. Now, I'm not saying the tourism numbers are low. They're around the 24 million before the pandemic mark, but they've been at that level for a number of years. And I think Russia still has a lot of future potential. It's a mature market, but it's not as mature as other markets, let's say the US and Western Europe, when it comes to future growth in the tourism market. And finally, I also want to say another good thing about Russia. Unemployment in Russia is actually quite low. As of September 2021, it's at 4.3%. So it's a lot lower than many southern European countries, namely, let's say, Spain, Italy, and Greece. So this would indicate that employment being so high, growth, there should be growth for the future market, in particular for the youth. Anyway, that's it for today, and this is my final video of 2021. I would like to know your opinions on Russia. Do you think it's a good market to put your real estate money in the future? Have any of you invested in the real estate market in Russia? And also, do you think the yields here are worth investing in? Anyway, that's it for today, and my final video for 2021. I want to take this occasion to wish all my subscribers, and there's about 5,000 or so of you, and all of those of you who are not subscribed but watch my channel anyway, a very, very happy 2022. Let's hope 2022 is a much better year than 2021 and 2020. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. Bye for today.